Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to alpha.trader daily updates for BTC today. Bit of a late one tonight because I was out, so it is just after 12 here. But yeah, some pretty crazy price action in the last few hours. So let's give a quick update and go into what actually happened. So let's start off on the higher time frame here on the weekly. So we are seeing the RSI kind of tilt back up here, right? You're seeing this move back up. So it feels like we have found a bottom here on the RSI weekly, which is already a good sign. But it wasn't as low as last time. We just missed it, right? So we could expect another leg down here. You can see in 2022, it also spiked up on the very detailed view here, and then came right back down and then took off. So we could have something similar happening this time around, where it just kind of stays down here for a few weeks more than what we expect. If you draw some parallels back to 2022, you can also tell that this wasn't actually the bottom, right? We had a bottom here form, and then we went sideways from basically June 2022 until November 2022, and then we got the liquidation candle that actually marked the real bottom right here, right? So there's still some room to go down. I don't think we're going to see a V-shaped recovery out of this depth. I think we're going to see something more similar to here that is going to be more continued ranging or side action, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there was, it wasn't just flat. Like if you zoom in more, there's definitely some movements here. We can actually measure that in terms of price range. Yeah, we did get, almost a 50% run here off the first low before then the last liquidation candle kind of put in a new low. So yeah, we could expect something similar this time around. But like I mentioned on the last video, we are in a major accumulation range here, or rather support, I should say. Deep support from this range right here forming. That was the last two peaks in 2021, and then the consolidation range in 2024, right? So this should act as significant support. We should spend some time here over the next few months just kind of ranging. I mean, not saying that there aren't any opportunities for scalping, but yeah, I don't see us just pumping right back up right now. That would be pretty unlikely in my opinion. I think we'll still go lower. I think, like I said, there should be some sort of like a bullish divergence here with the RSI on the lower time frames before we really mark a bottom, and that just hasn't happened as of yet. So yeah, let's move on. Let's jump into the 3-day. So yeah, on the 3-day today, we saw some really crazy price action. Just basically one candle that went all the way back into resistance, and then, well, let me actually pull up the 1 day or even the 4-hour here just to show you this just a bit better. Yeah, so we had a crazy run up here today. It started this morning and then kind of went up until New York Open, and then New York Open we really pumped from 65.5 all the way back to 69.5, which is definitely like you wouldn't expect that to happen if the market was really dead. But really, if we look at the data, like what this is a textbook short squeeze. The funding went negative, so it's shorts covering, not longs. And that's just like a conviction score that is basically zero across all derivative markets, right? We jumped into resistance, so we didn't kind of pump from support, but we pumped from the lows, where ultimately everyone was shorting because we just had that confirmation of losing the triangle and then retest. So everyone was going short here, and then just market makers pushing the price up and everyone getting liquidated. And this is why you see these like gigantic 4-hour candles just pump up. Overall, I mean, we have had 800 million in long liquidations since Sunday, I think, or since the weekend. And OI hasn't really expanded since, right? So there's no new money coming in. It's just like the OI that's there is closing positions, and that's what's causing the pump. So it's really like textbook short squeeze mechanics. The macro also hasn't changed at all. I mean, the tariffs are still unresolved. Trump is saying that he's going to use another tactic now, so they remain legal. And yeah, there just hasn't been any resolution there. And gold has been ripping as well. It's reclaimed 5,200. So that just shows you that people are not ready for risk assets, right? They're going for safe haven assets. The credit stress is building in the system, and there's just no fundamental catalyst that would make us want to say that Bitcoin is bottomed here. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. This is definitely interesting. I was saying in my last video that this entire triangle is now resistance. So yeah, we pumped right back into resistance, right back into the line where the supply liquidity was selling for the last sell-off to take place. So we just kind of came back and just reclaimed this here. Sorry, I have a lot of lines here. But as you can see, I mean, this downtrending trend here is just a chop trend, right? This is just chopping. It might be trending a bit downwards because it's getting weaker. But ultimately, we're still in chop range here. Like, nothing has really changed on the bigger picture. Now, it's to be seen what's going to happen here at this 70K range. I think the 70K range is really important because that was supplied the last 2 times, and we didn't even make it on the last attempt. So if we do flip 70K, I want to say, that's kind of just like the psychological round number back into support, then we might get interested again in longs all the way up here into 90K. I mean, there are still some levels underneath here as well that we could potentially not make it through, so that could act as resistance, right? So we have one here at 80 range, and then 85, and then 90. And yeah, we could attempt to go back up here, but ultimately I do think that the bottom is not in, and we will eventually take out these lows here and form a bullish divergence with the price being lower and the RSI being higher on the higher time frames. So yeah, still waiting for that kind of to see the bottom. And we just haven't really seen that just yet. One thing that is interesting, however, that I saw on our cycle extremes indicator. Let me just pull it up here. Or actually, it's underneath. Yeah. So we are forming a bottom here on our cycle extreme indicator, which means that in the cycles, this is considered an extreme range. If we zoom back out to the weekly, okay, let me see. Maybe that doesn't have all the data on this chart for the weekly. So let's see on the 3 days maybe. Yeah, so on the 3 days you can see that the indicator is kind of measuring the bottoms and the tops. So when this turns red, it usually signals a top, and then when this turns negative, it signals a bottom. So you can't really see it on this one because the chart history just doesn't go back far enough. If it had the full history, you would see it better. But yeah, it did show that we are reaching bottom territory here on the lower time frames. So yeah, a bottom could be formed here, like I said, but I'm just waiting for this one extra spike kind of going down. I was saying before that I think the bottom could be 48K, which would make sense. I think we could reach there. If we don't, if we reach 50, 55, and then see a V-shaped recovery, I think that could also work. But yeah, that's currently just not really what this pump is. The data definitely signals that this is more of a short squeeze than anything else. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't turn into a real rally if it morphs and we can see the funding change and we can see all the other data change and it becomes more favorable. Then sure, potentially we could get back into longs at that point. But right now, it's just not the case. The lower timeframes are extremely volatile, obviously, as we know. So we just need confirmation on the higher timeframes for this to become a legitimate rally, right? For now, I want to watch this range right here, right? What is going to happen in this range here? Are we going to break below the median of this range, which would be below 68.5, and then start trending back towards this lower green line here, or are we going to stay above the median and then break out from here? Yeah, that's kind of like the next thing that we're watching as we're trending down in this channel. But yeah, that's my insight for today. Definitely some interesting pumps here. We got a lot of people liquidated on their lower time frames. A lot of people, like I said, were going short here because we lost this range. And ultimately, yeah, price recovered now quite strongly after New York open. So let's see if it sustains or if we break down again from here and go for new lows. That's all for now. Yeah, hit up the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and join us on Telegram, join our updates on X Telegram, or yeah, join the community. See you on the next one, guys.